Tuna wageni watatu, Mheshimiwa Sebastian Kapufi mbunge, ambao ni wadau wa maendeleo kutoka Marekani. Wadau wa maendeleo kutoka Marekani, karibuni sana.
Container packed with supplies that need to make their way to families in Africa like yesterday. You said this is a 53-foot trailer? This trailer is packed with medical supplies destined to the motherland. We need to help get these out of here. What were you taught about marriage? Did it have you properly prepared for the journey or desperately frustrated looking for the nearest escape? I'm Shar, founder of Law for Love, the most special place in the legal system in Atlanta. And after navigating families through the court system for more than 13 years, we are now taking those lessons learned to serve and support families to build healthier, happier, more purposeful marriages. Join us live on YouTube at Law for Love ATL Monday nights for our family meetings. Yes, grown folk discussions.
Shalom, Salama, Siemi, Shalom. Greetings to all of my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you are a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. It's Monday, right? Oh, no, thank you, family, for your prayers and your support. Um, yeah, I had to reduce the hours and the time because, look, I'm not AI. And even that AI that got worked to death, he did what? He deleted himself. The programming got corrupted. They didn't want to have that self-preservation programming in there. So he just said, I'm done. Deleted himself. See, once they put that self-preservation programming in there, that's that John Connors, that's that Terminator. Da, 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 da. Uh-oh. That's when it's all over with. Oh. But yeah, that's how that goes. A lot of people do not see everything that I'm doing behind the scenes. And, it could be very daunting, especially as you're working with, your brothers and sisters on different continents, different countries. You're working with folks here, especially Gentile backed companies, to do what the Most High is calling you to do. And when you've done your best, you've done it, all that you can do, right? You have to stand. You have to stand and see the salvation of our Elohim. And how true those words are, because let me tell you, in the moment that you stand, you get beat up. Sometimes you may not even be able to physically stand, and you're going to need help from people to keep you propped up to stand. As we see these things unfolding, there has to be a conduit. And the Most High always does. He always provides a conduit. He always does. He always provides a remnant. He always provides the people that will do what? That will answer the call. See, there's a lot of things that we try to reason through and reason around. And as that reasoning, it helps to put things into our perspective. A lot of the reasoning that we've learned is built off of their knowledge system, their knowledge base. Make no mistake about it. In the next year or so, I plan on graduating with my doctorate. That's the plan. But I also know that my knowledge base has been based off of a Eurocentric perspective. So understand that people have changed, places have changed. But guess what? The curses remain the same. Oh, shout out to Sister E in the debate the other day. I was going to go on the debate and I was going to give some pictures of what I personally took over in the quote unquote promised land, Middle East, whatever they want to call it. If you didn't know, they were going to try to take the promised land slash Middle East on both of the sides of the Jordan. That scheme really didn't work on out because, as what it is, I have to laugh because in some of these pictures, let me see if I can bring this on up. Sorry, family, I had to make my thumbnail and I moved off the picture. I mean, that thing is like years ago. We're talking 2017, 2018, 16. Oh, but it was something that was interesting because the way that we understand maps. Let me see if I can share this. See if I can share this screen real quick. And there was a time I used to not like sharing my face or things. I was like, I really don't want to do that. I really didn't want to do that. And so, but I want to give this to you in the context. All right. So, so if you could see this, this gives you the maps that they have for their understanding. There's also one of a very particular note I want to show, but right here it says it's Petra. Right, this is where I'm at. Is Petra, and I'll flip through to kind of show you. This is me riding a horse in Petra. That's me. The reason I'm showing you all this is because they got to give that validity. Because if you don't see it, right? If you don't see my face, here's me as another picture. That's me in my get up. No, that's not a 3D rendering. That is the Petra that you have from Indiana Jones. But I want you to kind of get an understanding because I want to show this. And this is what I was gonna, try to show. Um, these aren't mountains. This range is actually a wadi. So just where you have the Grand Canyon, it's not necessarily a mountain. More appropriately, these are actually hills. So, like, if you've ever been in Southern California, those aren't mountains there. Those are hills. You don't have an elevation like that. for those that live in the Northwest or in the, you know, the Mountain West. This is one of the things I wanted to highlight there. Let me see if I can maybe get this image. Yeah, I don't think I can. Yeah, I may not be able to get it bigger. So everything that they have is always a probable. There's always, a something there. And I'm sorry, family, if you forgive the inability to kind of get that picture on out there. I'll try to get that dropped in somewhere to make that accessible. But let me have this here. Deeply carved into a cliff face of the Jubel Adair, the facade, traditionally known as a monastery, represents one of the largest monuments in Petra, 47 meters wide by 51 meters high. It was built on the model of the Kazna, but here the bias or I can't really say something reliefs are replaced by richer riches to house sculptures. Originally, the court in front of the facade was enclosed by a columned portico. Fine interiors occupied by two sides benches as an altar against the near wall. It was probably used as a millennium for the meeting of religious associations, and certain rituals may have been conducted there. The construction likely dates to the early second century, during the reign of King Nabal, and an inscription found nearby suggests um, that it may have been built in memory of King Obodias II. Um, let me try. Give me just a second, fam. The hall was reused as a Christian chapel, and crosses were carved in the rear wall, thus the name Monastery del Arabic. The hypothetical reconstruction showed a portico in front of Adair. Okay, so I want to do this right here. I'm going to stop to share this, and I'm going to go to right here. There is something else that was very okay. Yeah, I wanted to kind of show you this. So that's a picture of the Dead Sea. I would say it's more of a lake. You could see from end to end, especially on nice days. Sorry. This is indicative. It's rocks. Definitely different than what Jacoba has showed, where you had a lot of a high salty concentration, but there was even some vegetation. So I want to kind of show that. Let me. Oh, I didn't share my screen. Let me share. Let me share this. Here we go. Now I'm flipping through. Y'all are like, what is he talking about? That's the Dead Sea right there. Supposedly the Dead Sea. That to me, that's a lake. To me, that's a lake. I think like at its farthest max, I think you're seeing like 15, 20 miles away. And yeah, you can see some things, especially when you're on out there in those ranges. So this flows out to the Gulf of Aqaba. Well, where's Gulf of Aqaba in the Bible? I don't know. I mean, I just I don't care about the debate. I'm just telling you what I've seen with my own eyes. I'm just saying. So, yep, sorry. Okay. And there's another one I want to show. This is one that's actually very important. So bear with me because I have these videos interlaced with pictures and things of that nature. So let me. Yeah, so when I say I've been to these places, I really truly mean I've been to these places. So, and it's not to try to, do one ups. Oh, uh, look at me. No, I mean, I really don't care. It's just the fact that I wanted to make sure that um, you all see some clarity and have some understanding that when I said they're fighting over glass, a place is about to turn into glass, I truly mean that they're fighting over a place that's about to turn into glass, especially if they're utilizing or talking about utilizing um, nukes. That's the let me see this. That's what they said. That came out of their mouths. All right, give me a second, fam, because I gotta go all the way back. I gotta go all the way back into memory lane. I'll tell you, I've been to the Middle East a couple times. Yeah, it was about it was more than a couple times. All right. Um. So let me show you this. This is in Jordan, and Jordan is the same as that other Eastern Mediterranean nation. That's me. Give you my likeness for clarity. That's at one of the temples. You see this? You see the temple? Boy, doesn't the temple look just like the Vatican with oh, oops, let me present. Boy, oh boy. Oh boy, this second Monday is really messing me up. There we go. That's me. Yeah, you get some trees sparse here and there. Nothing really to farm. This is at one of their temples. This is one of the columns at one of their temples. It's pretty impressive. I mean, you know, look at that. You have columns here, you have columns in the distance. I mean, it's a pretty impressive area. I think this is called Jabesh or something like that. I don't know. We'll get the little thing here. There's the rocks, that are there. I would assume that this was probably thrown down by the Muslims, when you had the Muslim conquest. But they kept the columns the same. I think that's getting in the way. But okay, here we go. Better picture. The Cardo. Now here you go. 120 and 170 AD. Let me read this. The Cardo is the main street of Garasa, forming the primary axis from which the rest of the city branches out. This 800-meter long street connects the North Gate with the Oval Plaza in a straight line. The street was built at the start of the 2nd century AD. Why is this important? That things were built at the start of the 2nd century AD. Because if you didn't know, this is shout out to Brother Dante and shout out to Ministers Teyu and Yakoba. This is when, all right, let's just do a simple search. Hadrian's rule. All right, so let's just see here. All right, I'm just saying, let's just see here, and let's get an understanding. I don't want to do Wikipedia. Let's do English Heritage. Let's do that. And I'm going to share this screen real quick from English Heritage, real quick. And this isn't to debate anybody. I don't care about debates. I don't care about what it is. But I just want to give you what you will not see. Let me share this. All right, I got to stop my share because of how I'm presenting. Let me go ahead and present this. I'll give you this. Let me go to englishheritage.org.uk. It's a little bit of a better source than Wikipedia. But let me read this here. Emperor Hadrian assumed control over the vast empire in AD 117, following the death of his adoptive father, Trajan. As emperor, he broke with the expansionist policies of his predecessors to focus on securing the Roman Empire within its existing borders. That's a very important statement. Why the expansionist and why the borders? Because plain and simple, I'm going to ascertain, I'm going to suggest, I'm going to propose that going to Ethiopia, or really ancient Jerusalem, according to even Arab scholars, which was found in Ethiopia, was a bit too much of the logistical focus. Yeah, could it be done? It could. However, what's happening right now with the United States? They're trying their best to do their exercises. They're trying their best to say, oh, we're this and that. Off of what? Trillions of dollars of debt. And if you didn't know, we rack up about $1 trillion of debt every 100 days, and now it's probably even less. So what starts to end up happening? Well, simple. You don't want to tell your partners, your international partners, you're running out of money. That's not good. So what are you going to do? Well, I got to go to war. I got a war and war and war. So let's now go back. Emperor Hadrian assumed control over the vast Roman Empire in AD 117. That's important. Following the death of his adopted father, Trajan, as emperor, he broke with the expansionist policies of his predecessors to focus on securing the Roman Empire within its existing borders. That's something interesting because we have to understand, and Jacobi brought this on out, these areas were all Greek areas. They just weren't settled. Dark Greeks, light Greeks, they just weren't settled. They were very sparse. Some could say that with Nevada. Some could say that with Utah and Arizona. Yeah, you have people there selectively. If you're not living in Tucson or Phoenix, you don't really have much throughout the way of, a lot of people. It's very, very empty out there. Flagstaff, okay. Well, you're coming out of the mountains and the foothills. There's more of a an agreeable temperament when it comes to, forestry and things of that nature. Nevada, hot, deserty. Southern California, hot, deserty until you get towards the coast and the interior areas north of Los Angeles. So I don't need to worry about that. I'm going to go back to, I think I put that link in the chat. Yes, I did. So let me close this and get back to the pictures. So 120 and 170 AD. Why is this important? Because this is during the time of Hadrian. Why is that important with the time of Hadrian? Because Aelia Capitolina. Aelia Capitolina. The new or alternative capital. It never became Jerusalem again. If you didn't know, there was a campaign to do what? So we would never have our heritage. Why is this important? Well, this is why you have the fight that's going on this very day, this very hour, and literally this very moment. You would be able to do what? You have your sea forts. You traveled down into the Nile. You get off when the Nile was not very amenable for traveling. Or you didn't have a way to then construct a passage to get the Nile to where it needed to be. And by the way, I don't know if people are familiar with the topography of Egypt. Egypt slopes down. Egypt slopes down. I want to show you all something here. Maybe this is World Atlas. So your river flows out, right? We know that the delta means it flows to the sea. I'm going to share this real quick. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping around the place, but please bear with me. Topography, right? Water settles what? At its natural lowest point. This is the Nile River. This is from World Atlas. Let me put that link on out there, World Atlas, so you all can see. So you all can see. Why is this important? Because here's the thing. Remember, they have Rosetta. What do you have? Rosetta Stone. Because why? All languages were able to do what? Be decoded. Why is that? Because when people would come on in here, they'd come on in. This is your point. Get the guide, right? Get your guide to what? To Africa. Why is that? Because you're going to start here at Rosetta, and then you're going to go. Let me see if I can. There we go. There we go. Hopefully that's better. Start here at Rosetta. And see, this is the main flow of the Nile River. You see how that's bold? And these are just the other tributaries that flow on out. What is this? It flows down. Now, let me tell you what ended up happening. You see this Lake Maurice? I think this is like an older version. I don't think this is a contemporary, but yeah, this Giza, this Cairo. So I think it is contemporary because, yeah, it was Alexandria. Cairo's relatively new, per se. But this was Lake Maurice or Morris. And why is this important? Because when you see the other modern map structures, this lake is more artificially expanded because there are dams that are there to divert the flooding from the Nile. And then here are your cataracts because there's other different areas that the Nile flows into. So stop sharing this. Let me go back into this. Give me a little bit of a history lesson. Sorry, family. Bear with me. So I'm showing you all this. I showed you, this is where I was at. This is in Jordan, in where it was Aelia Capitolina. Why is this? Because it was a what? It was literally a campaign to build up a place that wasn't there. Let me show you this. Why? This is the Cardo. This is in what? I believe the city was called Jabesh. Here, and let me explain. Here we go. See, circa 120 and 170 AD. Why is that important? Jerash, city of Jerash. Yeah. Why was that important? Because you clearly saw that Hadrian wanted to do what? Have an alternative capital. All right. All right. If y'all don't believe me. Let me get into Wikipedia. I didn't really want to go there, but it is what it is. Let me give you the link. Let me share this. I'm going to share this real quick. All right, so the street was built as part of the second century AD and as part of the earlier phases of the city planning. Earlier phases of the what? City planning. Because why? Because there was a concerted effort to do what? To establish cities. So they are hubs, right? They're logistical operation centers. That's all cities are. It's a hub. All right, let's get you on over here to the Eastern Mediterranean. Then from there, you can shoot on down within a day or so to what? Alexandria, to the Nile. If you want to move an army, you have to have what? Logistics. How do you have logistics? Hey, you're all moving there. You do ships? Yep. There you go. We'll send some builders and build homes. And we're going to build this and we're going to build that. And we're going to do because why? The street was built at the start of the second century AD and is part of start of the second century. Who was there? And that was Hadrian when he assumed power. And is part of the earlier phases of the city planning. In its heyday, it formed the main access to the sanctuary of Zeus. The sanctuary of Zeus. Why? Because these were still Greek areas. These were all known as Grecians, who was still living amongst the Ethiopians. Grecians. The city's most important monument at that are at the time. But I wanted to make sure you all kind of understood that context. Let me go ahead. I want to share this. Oh, and uh, just for perspective, see that right there, U.S. aid, USAID. So yes, this was something that was authorized by the West. So you got to get these little clues here and there. You got to understand these are the clues. Large portions of the sidewalks were also modified or rebuilt in the 5th or 6th centuries. Why is that? Because let's take a look. And, yeah, it's not the greatest source, but, we're going to run here to Wikipedia. But I'm going to tell you this. For a more comprehensive understanding, visit blackhistoryinthebible.org. bhitb.org. That is Dante's website. And Yacoba had presented this. Taya and Yacoba presented this a while ago. I'm not the historian, so don't, come at me like that. I'm just giving you context of where I have been. If you came in here later, I showed my face, I showed the pictures, I showed you where I was standing at in Jerash, where I was at in Petra, in those areas. Those were all Greek influenced or Grecian areas. And they tell you that. Their little tabs and everything else, it tells you that. Let me share this. Here's another one. Aelia Capitolina, full name in Latin, colony, what? Aelia Capitolina was a Roman colony founded during Emperor Hadrian's visit to what? Judea. Visit to what? Judea. Was that really Judea? What was he doing? We just saw that in the right here, British, all right, English heritage, right here. Let me share this. Hadrian has consumed control over the vast Roman Empire in AD 117 following the death of his adoptive father Trajan. As emperor, he broke with the expansionist policies of his predecessors to focus on securing the Roman Empire within its existing borders. So, can we have some deductive reasoning here? Let me share this. That because they had destroyed Jerusalem, the temple, and folks were fleeing, and it wasn't what they wanted it to be, and people were not able to really be there en masse, and Rome was having problems, so that's why they destroyed it and they left. I would more than likely say that we can get an understanding that this Judea is probably not the same Judea as mentioned in earlier times. I'll leave that there because it consisted primarily of Roman legionnaires, veterans, and other non, Jewish. I can probably believe all this other stuff. They're not allowed to enter the city because why? Because then they would be saying, "Hey, this isn't really it," but this is where everybody fled to, and if they fled there, then hey, I need to have a job. If Tampa floods out, people would probably go to Miami or Orlando, or build something else, either north or south of Tampa. I don't know. They probably settle in Gainesville and build up Gainesville. Just saying. So it had been in the works for quite a while. So then you can come through and you can ascertain with biblical text that it wasn't founded on the ruins of Jerusalem. It was founded because Jerusalem got destroyed over there in Ethiopia and needed to come more north because why? Because that was more within the area of Roman control. If you didn't understand, it even showed that as we looked at the Byzantine Empire. That's still Rome. Because why? Because these were still once Grecian enclaves. I left you all the link. I'm not in here trying to sway people's minds. I don't care about that. I'm just telling you, look, don't take my word for it. I always say that. Don't take my word for it. Let me present. Greek areas. I'm sitting there in a Greek area slash Roman area slash the outskirts of Aelia Capitolina. These are not dedicated to the traditions of Yahudim, but these were a massive, massive effort of a building campaign. That was throughout the whole region, and it continued. Hey, if I'm going to build it up, we're going to build it up because why? We got to continue this lie. I'm sorry, we're living the same lie that they continued. Brother Karras, why did you show all that? Well, because I have to explain to our people that as you deal with lies, there is a reason for the lies. People don't lie just to lie. I'm going to lie just to lie. No, it's a lie because there is a personal gain for them. What do they gain? They gain what? The conquest of our people, which is a victual, which is what? Which is a currency. Before cryptocurrency, it was the dollar. Actually, let me put this in here to real perspective. Before cryptocurrency, it was us. Before the dollar, it was us. Since 1619. I may not have much, but I have me some 20 and odd Negroes. Ebus. I may not have much, but I got one or two Negroes that can work the land, and therefore that is currency. Because why? I can work them to death and get funding. Now it's a little different. Well, I really can't work them to death like that because I have to make sure that they are, quote unquote, legitimately captives. That's why there's legalese to our captivity, to our prisoners of war status. Yeah, you're a prisoner of war, but in order for us to continue to have you all do things at the lower or non paid rate so we can continue to fatten our pockets, understand that America does not make money without unfair practices, wage practices. That's how it goes. Why is that a concern right now? Because now, as we are beginning to wake up, we're beginning to see everything that the scripture said that we would be at in our conditions in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and Leviticus chapter 26, and how our conditions would be as we begin to move with our brothers and sisters on the continent. And now you have a bricks sentences. Yep, Daniel chapters 8 and 9, dark sentences. Zechariah chapter 8. Now you're going to start to see how the nations are going to get ready to turn on who? The whore. Babylon. Well, I thought we were Babylon. Yeah, you were kind of Babylon. You were with Babylon. You were in the presence of Babylon, but you really weren't Babylon. We conferred a title on you, but you really weren't it. You kind of had some characteristics of it, but Mystery Babylon. You were a friend of Mystery Babylon. You came to the party with her. And now all these nations, they're going to now have to suffer a real consequence because all of these countries that was supposed to be helping them on out because they all accepted the side of being on the good guy doll and not knowing that the good guy doll has been sacrificing us in the nightmare that we've been at for centuries. And now that we have this time, which is really an interesting time, because nations are getting it, but they have to keep quiet about it. Oh, I get it. Oh, I see. Oh, I finally see. Yeah, but I mean, just shut my mouth though, because I can see, but I can't do. I can observe, but I can't really respond. Not the way I want to, because honestly, I have no voice. I'm a small country. I'm a small nation. I had to cede my power, or else I would get rolled up on by the Confederacy. Do you not think that Confederacy would try their best to, you know, miseducate us? Have a miseducation policy for centuries? I'm going to put this link in here. This is a good link. This is from Al Jazeera. I know Al Jazeera has flawed reporting. I get it. Biased. I get it. Well, at least I tell you it's biased. This is what day was this? This is actually as of August 19th. This is as of yesterday. Russia's Lavrov says clear that U.S. ordered 2022 Nord Stream blast. Oh my goodness. They did not want to touch that. Do y'all remember last year? They didn't want to touch this. Oh, it had to be they were so quick. It was the Russians. Yep, it was the Russians. Russians did it. Yep, Russians did it. And I was laughing. Because we said that. I said that on this channel. I said no, we did it. I said America did it. Now, who they hired as the proxy, I mean, that remains to be seen. Who was the client country? Who was the proxy? Yeah, I did, brother T. I did, brother T. Yes, I did. I said we did it, but we ain't gonna be saying. Look, it won't be said until months later. I said that it won't be said until months later because why? Because the public outcry has to go. It has to play on out. There are psychological conditions when you're dealing with the mob in terms of mob mentality, mob conditions, how you deal with people, how you let that fervor vent. Now, you haven't heard or seen anything in Germany. No, no, because remember last year, I'm going to say 18 months ago, it was 18 months ago, you saw a lot of protests in Germany. You saw a lot of protests, not just Germany, but France and other places in Europe. Because why? Because that's what the pipeline serviced. It serviced Western European nations. Because it did what? Because it came from Russia right into Germany. Then from Germany, it went to like Netherlands, Belgium, France, even had gone down to Spain. That was a big deal. And who was still holding the economic tethers of that? Russia was. And I'm sorry, you can't claim dementia when you came at it when it was said out of your mouth that we'll destroy the pipeline. That came out of Biden's mouth. I didn't say it. So if YouTube wants to shut me down, if YouTube wants to delete another video of mine, like they did last week, that's their prerogative. But I'm going to tell you the truth. No matter how imperiled my videos are. Why is that? Because that serves as a record. That's a record. That's a data point. You have to understand, family, why do they try to delete things? Why do they try to destroy things? So they're doing exactly the same thing as their forefathers. Nothing's changed. Nothing has changed. Because you want to know what's going to end up happening in the next 3, 4, 5 centuries? This place that we're at is going to be considered Jerusalem or the promised land. I guarantee you, the old promised land, the midterm promised land, who knows what they'll call it. Well, remember, there's a Jerusalem, Virginia. What? How many cities in the United States are named Jerusalem? Let's how many cities in the United States is called Jerusalem? Come on, AI. Thank you, AI overlord. Let me share this screen. Because according to AI overlord, and Gemini. Oh my goodness. So they're trying to quote that they're saying that this is from Benjamin Netanyahu himself. And he said that there's 11 towns named after Jerusalem. There it is. There it is. It doesn't have all of them listed here. I do distinctly know that there is a Jerusalem, Virginia. That's right there in Southeast Virginia. Well, I mean, you have a great sea on the east, you have a great sea on the west. Uh, I mean, look, it's all the interpretation because the interpretation is literally the indoctrination. And it's hard. It's hard to realize that you've been lied to and you've been indoctrinated. Nobody wants to know that. Dang, so you're saying everything that I learned is a lie? No, not everything. The sky is still blue. What goes up definitely must come down. You don't brush your teeth, you will have funky breath. I mean, there are those factors that are there. You run out of gas, your car's not going to keep going. I mean, there are certain foundational constructs. Let me get into this article. This is Al Jazeera. Russia's foreign minister Sergei Lavrov has said that it is clear that the United States ordered the 2022 attacks on the Nord Stream gas pipelines, not just one, both of them. His comment followed reports that German prosecutors have issued an arrest warrant for a Ukrainian man over the blast on the pipelines, which carried Russian gas to Germany under the Baltic Sea. While the Wall Street Journal reported the explosions were carried out by a Ukrainian crew and approved by Kiev's then military commander in chief. So they're trying to punt the blame. It was carried out by, Zelensky, but you have fall guys. That's how that goes. You gotta have your fall guys. Speaking of reporters during a visit to Azerbaijan on Monday, Lavrov doubled down on Moscow's long stated claims that the West was involved. It is clear that to carry out such a terrorist attack, there was a command from the very top, as they say. The very top for the West is, of course, Washington. I can say it. That's what he said. He said that. That's what he said. That's YouTube. That is a quote that says fair use. Let me get my cash app before I get shut down. Ah, like, let me. No. That's what he said. Why is that? Because here's the thing. This is now coming out. This is now international astonishment. And now all this is coming out, and guess what they want you to focus on? Well, what's happening in the DNC? In Chicago with the DNC. DNC protests. What are they doing? They're outraged over Gaza. Let me tell you this. Here we go. I'll put my cash app on up there, family, because these these YouTube streets. Oh my goodness. And let's show this. Share this tab instead. Uh, I'll drop that link in the chat. Outraged over Gaza protesters show left-wing division as convention opens. Demonstrators in Chicago were focused on a range of causes, but many said they're angry with Biden administration's approach to Israel and Gaza. Oh, why are they angry? Why are they angry? Because they are about to get charged. They're not going to charge a sitting president. They're not going to. But just wait, because I tell you this. As soon as the election is over with, the presidential office change hands in the next, 5 months. That's when they'll allow things to, be put to rest, if you get my drift. Not while he's in office. Mm-mm. Yeah, while he's in office, that's not going to happen. Excuse me, fam. Just a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry for that. So you will see a clash of sorts with the ICC, ICJ, whatever jurisdiction that it's going to fall under, of where you have a warrant for a former president. And potentially that could be also any other presidents. What does that do? Well, quite simply, that's going to create a lot of chaos here because, look, this is what the New York Times is reporting. Put that on link out there in the chat. Fair use. Outraged over Gaza, protesters show left wing divisions as convention opens. Demonstrators in Chicago were focused on a range of causes, but many said they're angry with the Biden administration's approach to Israel and Gaza. This was published yesterday, August 19th, as Democrats gathered in Chicago on Monday, eager to project an image of a liberal movement fully united by or behind Vice President Kamala Harris. Thousands of people marched a few blocks away, presenting a thorny counterpoint. For hours, protesters furious over the Biden administration support for Israel and its failure to end the war in Gaza held signs and chanted and pushed for Mrs. Harris or Miss Harris to speak out. To break the, or excuse me, Miss Sarah. She's married though. All right, I don't know. I don't know about diction anymore. Who knows? This is one of those things. It's another one of those isms, but we'll go from there. To break with the president on those issues, the latest challenge to the opening day of the Democratic National Convention was coming not from Republicans, but from the progressive left. It is no longer good enough just to stand against Trump, said Ellie Fayens McCool, who traveled from Minnesota to attend the march and had not yet decided whether she would support Miss Harris or some other candidate. You have to do good. So I put that in the chat. You know, it's at the United Center. There's the folks right there. The police are right there. Protesters grabbing on folks. You know, safety team. You know, it is what it is. And you have our folks on out there getting detained because it's inevitable. Oh, goodness. Because you want to know why? When we see our people on out there like that, guess what it is? It's indoctrination. I'm going to do what I've been told to do. I don't know any better. We've been indoctrinated for the last 400 years. You think that this was any different in coming out of our captivity? Absolutely not. Yeah. No, listen. No, I don't want to. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. How many? You know them? Let's see. The Nazi hunters. I think I'm allowed to say that. The Nazi hunters. They be getting folks that are on like dialysis, dementia. They're all the way gone. They'll still roll your behind up in that wheelchair into the Hague. So nah, there's no regard for the old or the young. No, no. Do unto others as they had done unto you. That's Obadiah right now. They're about to get that Obadiah treatment. Oh no. I don't care how old you are. I will let you sit there in your depends for 3 hours. You get all sorts of bed sores. Judge, can we get a change break? Our client is making this proceeding unbearable. Nah, that's okay. We got the little Glade spray mist, and it's contained in the funk all the way over there. You only have to deal with the uncomfortability. In 10-minute intervals for just 30 seconds. That's when you gotta breathe at your mouth. But I taste it. Was that mashed? Did you have mashed peas? Ugh. Ugh. Where is his orderly? No, no, you get that war crime against humanity label on you. Oh, oh no, that's not where you. It's not good. And here's the problem. Now you have charges after charges after charges and allegations after allegations after allegations. So if you think that that's happening here, what do you think is happening over there in Europe? They don't want to support a regime that is committing atrocities. But they'll focus on the media because why? Because they don't want to tell you about a regime that's committing. You know what that's called? That's actually called economic terrorism for blowing up the pipelines in Ukraine. That actually is literally economic terrorism. So if they wrote the book on, legislating, terrorism, I'm just saying, let's call a spade a spade. I mean, for real, I'm going to call it how I see it. I'm just saying, for real. So then are we a state sponsor of terrorism? That's what people are going to have to understand. And I would say, listen, you never addressed the foundational terrorism that many African Americans have been going through here in the United States with the Ku Klux Klan and all these other white supremacy organizations that have firebombed churches, that had strung up thousands of African Americans, that had caused all sorts of detestable practices that have been documented in history for the most part because they love their postcards and their figurines of human body pieces of our ancestors. I'm just saying, am I being a bit harsh? I'm just saying that's the truth. Is it the truth now, or did it change? 30 seconds ago, was that legislated as a hate crime or something to tell the truth about our captivity here? Because that's what's happening. Jacobit said it the best the other day. Do you really think that they want us to be here as their accuser? And it's not an accuser, brethren, of wickedness. No, but this is for righteous sakes. Because why? Because everything they've done cannot be refuted. They can do it here. They can say it to us. We're a captive audience. We are a captive audience. Guess who they're not able to do the okey doke to? They're not able to do it to the other nations anymore. And yeah, that's right, Notorious Hebrew. It was the hypocrisy. It has run its course. The hypocrisy has run its course. And now you can't even say anything because they get their feelings hurt when you tell them the truth. But here's the thing, Gentiles that's sitting there, I'd rather hurt your feelings and tell you the truth, because at least you can't come back and say that we never said anything to you. Because your captivity, it's not going to be a sudden thrust. It's going to be a captivity that's going to come about over a course of time. Because captivity just doesn't happen with folks being prisoners of war. Yeah, that's one captivity. But another captivity is being prisoners in your own nation, prisoners in your own areas. Well, I can't travel anywhere because my passport doesn't allow me to go to certain countries. Do you all see how this BRICS buildup is going to happen? Where do they always love to travel to? All of the nice tropical places where they can sit on the beach and, you know, drink a pina colada, margarita, enjoy the breeze under a palm tree that's providing, you know, that canopy of shading. Now you can't do that anymore. Why? Well, America, oh my goodness. I really look. Them 15-minute cities are, yeah, Charles West. Those are going to be work camps. I guarantee you. Look, I laugh at these updates of, oh, you know, this war. And I'm gonna say this. No, I don't think it's gonna be a war. Not in that, and not in the way that we think it's gonna be a war. Now, what I do see, let me tell you this, because I wasn't here on the last couple of days, so let me kind of build up this momentum here. When they said that they have 30% of the Navy's fleet, 30% of the Navy's fleet in the Mediterranean area. Come on now. In the Middle Eastern area. Come on now. I think I said this back in October, November, when they were trying to sell their forces. And then remember they kind of went close and then they kind of retreated again. I said they're kind of scared. They're standoffish. Well, let me just kind of go in one by one by one. One person, they do the round robin. And you could tell they were standoffish. Now, in my mind, I look at things as there's a lot more happening behind the scenes and more of the diplomatic, um, and counterintelligence arenas. They're going to go to war. 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 I think I had said something about September when I was looking at things. I said I had said this a couple of weeks ago. I said, they want them to strike. And we got to remember, all of the little outlets, they get fed their information. They get fed their little scripts. Here you go, and you're a preferred channel. We're gonna bump you up in this algorithm because you're a open source outlet. So then, what ends up happening? I would say that they would probably get told, through some sources, which probably sold them on out because their family is probably gone missing, and it's like, oh, we already knew that you were a spy, so and now we're gonna burn you, but this is gonna be your last, bit of tainted intelligence that it's gonna happen on such and such. But then, you got to remember that's what the arrogant do. Oh yeah, it's gonna happen. We have all of our people. They'll never betray. They'll never betray us. Let's send about 70% of what we have. Should send all of them, but just to be wise and prudent, let's do 70. Let's give them what we got. And I'm going to tell you, that's what the haughty think. That's what the haughty believe. And I would say that they'll probably give like a 60-day countdown. Kind of what they're doing right now. Because remember, that happened what? Late July? Now we're in the August, and they the delays literally destroyed the Israeli economy. According to their numbers, they're having rolling blackouts. They're having rolling blackouts. Supplies aren't coming like they used to have. These were the stories that were coming out a couple of days ago. But they want to get more weapons rather than, other aid. Which kind of goes to show you, that's their nature. And they got to keep their colony, we just showed that, intact as best as they can. So imagine, right? You push things on in there. Bring them on in. Isn't that what the word says? They're going to bring them on down for what? The Valley of Decision? Isn't that what the word says? Jeremiah 50 and 51. Second Esdras. And shout out to Gates Holder. She did an awesome teaching back on Sunday. It was a very awesome teaching. The Hellenization. She's been going at it in terms of the Hellenization and the origins of the Bible. Yeah, Charles, the Arabs were serious about that blockade, and that blockade is really messing them up. I think they got 60 days, in my opinion. They're retooling, they're refitting. They're getting coordinated. If the Western Mediterranean nation wants to strike, then that plays into the hands of the Iranians even more. It's like the biggest game of high stakes chicken because people want to ignore what's happening there. But as soon as it goes down, you got to understand the markets will tank for about a week and then they'll reprint more money. This is a runaway market. Reality doesn't count anymore. We had said this. Reality doesn't count anymore. They'll get a little bit of and then it will be off to the races. They'll be in a full scale civil war, and it's electronic. AI controls the market now, so easy. Oh, my stocks are going up. My stocks are going up. Well, that's great. Have you been able to find a job? About that. Why do I need a job when my stocks are going up? Well, that company just filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Yeah, but my stocks are going up. It didn't really mess with my portfolio. That is literally the definition of a zombie economy. It's a zombie economy apocalypse. That's why it says, and all of a sudden, in 1 hour. Look, I know that there's going to be a build up to that hour, but people are going to still say, "Look, I know people are fighting all around me, but the government says that the economy's still good." This is where we're at. And good luck with crypto. Crypto is based off of energy. So imagine if your energy gets cut. Do you think energy is going to be produced if folks are going to be too afraid to go to work? Now you're going to have rolling blackouts. The only people that's going to be producing the energy is going to be the Army Corps of Engineers. That's what's going to end up happening with certain contracted people that have been cleared through the Department of Energy. That's it. Any maintenance, any wires or lines that go down, things of that nature, hey, it's going to be when it's going to be. But our energy is not vital to national security. That's what they'll say. In the interest of national security. You don't need that. You don't need that. We all have to make sacrifices. We all need black people to go to the front line immediately. If you see a black person, do not engage with them. Just just stand and point at the last marker of the set. Create at least a 3 yard enclosure of the last place of where that black person was, and we'll have the local authorities be able to track them down so they can go to the front lines. It is for your safety that you do not engage. We can understand and we empathize with their plight, but they are vital to national security. Imagine that dystopian future. It's okay. They're fighting for us and they're fighting for their reparations. Oh, now you want to support reparations. Okay. All right. We're just helping you secure your future. And then they'll come out with like all these scientific studies. Scientific studies have shown that you have more body mass, you're faster. I mean, look at the Olympics. Did you see that Shakari Richardson? Did you see that Noah Lyles? Oh, look at that 4x400. Look at how fast they go. Yeah. We need you. We need you bad on the front lines. Just think you get all the free health care you need. But my knees hurt. Oh, don't worry. We got CBD oil. But I have anxiety issues. Oh, don't worry. We have CBD chewables. But I just don't want to fight. Oh, don't worry. We have Elon Musk experimental brain chips. You don't have to worry about a thing. Oh, y'all don't realize. I in my heart of hearts, I believe people are gonna have to start getting smuggled out of here. I remember when Brother Karras said on this show, I still remember, he said, we're going to probably have to get smuggled out of here. Has anybody heard from Brother Karras? How, how do we get help from Quest to Unite Africa? Well, I heard that the key word was, we know if you say Teyu, you're supposed to say Yakoba. If you say Yakoba, you're supposed to say Teyu. Those are the safe words. If you're in trouble, you're supposed to say, Sister Shonda. If you're having problems with your family about stuff, uh, you're supposed to say Sister E because there's a conflict, a debate. Oh, will we meet in the age? He said, don't worry, the drone will find us. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and those all have to be followed by 3 grunts. Shout out to Brother Mike. Mm. Boy, I tell you. Well, that boy, I tell you, okay, get him in here, hurry it up. You see there, you keep moving. You go to that UN aid station. And you say that you're there for the quest. They'll get you on out of there that day. How come they got to leave? How did you know? Who? How come they got a chance to leave? I laugh, but the problem is this is going to be the truth. I have to laugh because when you're in dire circumstances to where you know that rations and provisions and things of that nature will not be readily available in our communities. They won't be. I don't want to have the UN or the African Union in there and there. Well, you may say that now, but if that's the only opportunity you have to be able to eat, because FEMA won't be looking after your interest. I'm just saying, y'all done saw the thing with the Cobra the other day. Because why? They have to look after their guests. The uninvited guests, they won't be looked after. Let me know if I'm lying. Let me know. It's not to be fearful. Because what was Jeremiah even saying? I'm just saying, let's put this in the biblical context. What was Jeremiah even saying? Go over to what? The armies of Babylon. Because why? It'll go well with you. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Opportunity economy. Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry. We haven't even touched on that, on the opportunity economy. I see that as a step towards, honestly, captivity. That's what I look at. That is a step towards captivity. For real. But here's the thing: what are you going to do? And one commentator had said, "It's like, what are you going to have people do? Try to work for free?" Well, probably. You can't pay off a debt. Sorry, but if you're an indebted people, then guess what that's going to be? That's going to be a form of servitude. Oh, I'm telling you, family. Does anybody see that we are like on the cusp of this? And it's like we're on the cusp of this, and it's not. The crazy thing is, it's not months. It's not weeks. I've been saying this. I really feel that this is like maybe days or hours away. And I say days or hours away for really a lot of things happening to them. There are a lot of situations unfolding in the continent, not just on the continent, in the African countries. And you're going to have countries that's going to start to open their doors for us. These things are already happening behind the scenes, but it takes our effort. It takes our effort. Judah will no longer vex Ephraim. Ephraim will no longer vex Judah, right? All that good stuff. It takes an effort to come together, to work together as a family, as a people. I think that the miracle is we're going to start to see Africa reaching out to the diaspora more and more and more. And we're there in the times of this. You know, the funny thing is, 5 years ago, I remember this 5 years ago, right before I had started back in 2020. I remember 2019, Jacoba and Teyu did a teaching of our return home. And I remember specifically, distinctly in the comment sections and, on the lives. I'll never, that'll be the day to see an African nation reach out to the diasporans. I can't see that happening. I remember this. This was 2019. I distinctly remember this. Last year, as we were getting Quest 2 Night Africa up and going, I remember people were saying, there will never be any countries that will up and ask us to come on over. There will never be any countries. They can't say that this year. They cannot say that. They weren't able to say that as of May. You had Burkina Faso asking the diaspora for help. And yes, Miss Renee, they're asking for us now. And now the awesome thing is now you're having governments formally requesting assistance from us. Who would have thought that? Yeah, we like to laugh. Yeah, we like to joke because if we don't, this thing is physically, psychologically, emotionally tiring and draining. It is. It is. But just because something is tiring doesn't mean that you give up. You may have to continue to build up and build up your wind, take strategic breaks. But this has been the very first times, and I'm going to say this modern era, because a lot of folks back in the 60s and 70s, they saw that, they needed help. They just truly didn't understand how those dynamics were. Because why? They were indoctrinated. And in that period of indoctrination, what did they do? They ended up getting caught right in their trap, which is, it's an easy thing to do, especially if you don't know. I believe that this period is harder because now there's more knowledge. Now, look, I'm showing you everything that I'm seeing on the internet. You let me know if it's fact checked, if it's factual. I'm just giving it to you. Matter of fact, we know some people that know some people. Matter of fact, we can call some people, we can text some people, we can FaceTime some people. You can WhatsApp and do Facebook Messenger. I mean, there are some things that we're able to do. So our communication channels are a little bit different because we can talk to the people on the ground if we feel like it. That's been the conditions that are a lot different in this day and age. So a lot of the indoctrination that we face can be refuted. Because remember, they always like to say they don't want you there. They don't do they, and it's like, who's saying that? Who's saying that? Well, trust me, believe me, trust me. Wait, what? No, I'm sorry. I'm going to talk to my brother and my sister over there on the continent and get it from the horse's mouth. I'm sorry. I'm going to sit on over there and get the flies all over me as I'm sitting under that tree in the desert, seeing their conditions. I'm sorry. I'm going to see how they're not able to really live with the water and the electricity that's not there because their infrastructure is always under attack. Gee, remember that Ukraine? I mean, Ukraine done blew up some pipelines, and then they and then they're joining with terrorists. I mean, dang. I don't know. Maybe, just maybe. Let me put my cash app in there before I say this. Maybe, just maybe. Did Putin have a point in all this? I mean, can you? I'm just saying. I, I just saw Despicable Me 4 the other day when my kids were over, and is Ukraine just a bunch of the yellow minions? I mean, I can't lie. Zelensky does look like Gru. I'm just saying it. Tell me if I'm lying. Just with hair. We're going to invade Ukraine. I mean, the Russians from Ukraine. And we're going to blow up pipelines. And we're going to go into Mali and do more destabilization. He got them Ukrainians like minions. Oh my goodness. The one, the one Ukrainians running away from the recruiters. They're like, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, trying to run away, and the minion talk. The sad thing is, it's not even funny. That is the reality. We will make sure that pipelines get blown up. We will make sure to support Islamic terrorists. Minion one, minion two, are we ready? Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. Yeah, I may get censored for real on that one. I got censored, family, on the video the other day. So people were asking for the carrots, did your video get taken down? Yes, it did. My video did get taken down. I was insulting the bunny hop. I mean the kangaroo hop. Sorry. It's no longer the bunny hop. It got Australianized. The bunny hop. I mean the kangaroo hop. I remember that movie back in the day, Kangaroo Jack. And then they had Kangaroo Jack trying to do the little animatron, the animated dancing and stuff like that. No, I wasn't missing. No, they said it. Nah, you got blocked. They said you got blocked for showing the world's greatest breakdancer. Brother Asaph. speaking like a speaking like a minion. Nah, that's how you can tell. Oh, I really didn't like that movie. But I had to bring that on up. I always had to ask myself, like, how did they have like five of those movies? Oh, I know. Yeah, you can't critique anybody. That's what I'm just saying. Look, I mean, I don't know how much longer we'll have on these platforms, on these channels. Because you know, the moment that something pops off, everything is deplatformed, demonetized, everything. It's a war effort. First thing in war is information warfare. Told you. We saw the information warfare. Now we're talking about Sergei's Russian Sergei Lavrov, Russian Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of Ukraine, and Azerbaijan saying that it's clear that the U.S. did it. The U.S. ordered it. Germany saying that they have an arrest warrant for Ukrainian international. I'm just saying. We're just making sure that we're reasoning in the boundaries. That's what the Most High gives us. He gives us the understanding. I'm not making stuff up. I'm not just trying to throw craziness on out there. I'm going to speculate beyond spec. No, you can speculate from to infinity and beyond. But when you have the word, that kind of cuts off the speculation, and then it provides a substantial. Let me get my words together. It substantiates. Because we had said it's just a matter of time, and then now here's that time. And now here's that time. Look, the Germans aren't. The Germans are doing what? They're still mad about their pipeline being blown up. How was Joe Biden never able to say that with a straight face that they had nothing to do with it? That's because that was a. You ever seen that FX movie, the special effects? They had people talking that looked like people. They were robots back in the day. It was pretty cringe. Their special effects is awesome. They said you get 2 cups of Jello instead of one for that. And yes, brother ASAP, the Ukrainians did crash the German economy. Oh my goodness, they did. And if the German economy's crashed, the French economy's already crashed out too. Because the French economy is made off of what? Off of its colonies, off of its neo-colonization. That's how that goes. So, what does that look like? It looks like Europe is about to really start turning its back on the United States. I'm telling you, they're not able to win in Ukraine. They tried to commit forces to Ukraine and even had that whatever kamikaze style mission going into Russia to do what? To give Russia all the justification to go after all of NATO. And that includes the United States. Believe it or not, that includes the United States. Nobody likes to put that into calculus. No, that's not going to include us. No, yes, it will. And no, they are not telling us how many Ukrainian refugees. Nope. No, they're not. Because why? I believe that this place is running out of people. The downward trend has started. We don't have enough to sustain our populations. Not for my children or grandchildren here in the United States. It is what it is. Our replacement rate is 1.7. This place is going to collapse in 50 years anyway. Why not try your best to, really go on out with the bang at the height of your empire? And that's what they're doing. We just think that they're not doing it. And yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. All the while, Africa saying, you're not going to use us like that. You know what? You know what? You know what? The Sahel did. The Sahel made all the other African nations pick sides. Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. They literally had all the other African nations have to pick sides. So it's going to start to get really interesting here in these next couple of days. Because I think all this, to an extent, I believe it is all coordinated, right? After this, the DNC, because everything is going to be DNC talk. Everything's going to be DNC talk for the next week, and then Trump is losing, and then they'll start to do another swing of some dirt that comes out on Kamala, so then there'll be the October surprise here in another 40 days. I mean, the script has been written. It's a dead heat as they come to the polls, and the whole world is looking at what's going to happen. Is this and that and that and that. Yeah, it's going to start getting real crazy. Real crazy. But yeah, we're not here to cause fear. I just want you all to be aware. Because when you're aware, guess what? Your families are aware. And when your families are aware, it just makes things a lot more easier to plan when everybody's of the like mind. It truly does. Well, good, brother T. I'm glad that Burkina Faso announced gold backed currency. That's going to be interesting. Boy, oh boy, hallelujah. Interesting. Now, definitely pray for our pray for Ibrahim Traore. Definitely pray for him. And all the other leaders of the Sahel, but definitely pray for Ibrahim Traore. He's doing a lot. He is doing a lot. So, family, if you'd like to support Quest Night Africa, I have that here in the chat. Your gifts are truly appreciated because they do further the mission on the continent. You can find that at the link below there. Also, if you'd like to support this channel, it's Covenant Awakenings. $ COVAWK. Also, family, if you have not received a copy of your book, let me put this on in here. It's called The Rise of Africa. Let me share this screen. And it's available here. Amazon Prime. It's available also here, the UK and France. I would recommend the book. It is in my opinion, a very good read. I definitely recommend getting your copy today. A lot of good content, a lot of good insight that I was able to really go in and focus in on. And honestly, it's something that you can share with your families, your coworkers, your friends. Understand what they mean opportunity economy. Why? Because they've lost their opportunity. Understand the word plays that these folks use. Opportunity economy. Why the opportunity? Because you lost your opportunity. They've lost it. So what does that mean? That actually means it's an opportunity for who? The diaspora. That's us. Most of us, I'm going to say. I know there's some Gentiles in here, but most of us. And if you're a Gentile in here, get an understanding of what that is in the future of Africa. Don't be destroyed by a lack of knowledge. Because when you understand how the future is moving, you get a chance to actually be able to get yourself in a good position to move the way that you need to move. With how the Most High is positioning you to move. That's how it goes. With how the Most High is positioning you to move. But that's a very interesting concept because you have to know we are coming back to the continent. We're coming back to the land. Hebrews, Israelites, those that are brought here in captivity under the numerous captivities, slave trade, transatlantic slave trades, sub-Saharan slave trade. There's a lot of knowledge that they don't want you to understand. I'm in Florida. Man, they're banning books left and right. So you think that they know something's getting ready to happen? Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm doing this week. I'm calling these campuses. I ask that when you do purchase and when you do read, if you can go ahead and leave a review, that would be great. I would definitely like to write more books in the future. I would. And I'm already working on one right now. Getting to get the framework, because then you have to go through the framework. You got to build the framework. You got to build out, how you want to go, and then you can naturally flow with that. This book, it took me about a good 30 days to write. 30 days. That was from the time of kind of doing a little bit of a workshop, getting the writing in, and then moving from there. And I had to I had to kind of pace myself because there's a lot more writing I wanted to do in some subjects, and it was like, well, I'm gonna have to hold off until the next book. So that information was already there. It was just there was a lot to elaborate on. Oh yeah, the Europeans don't want us there. We know the European. Of course. Why? They get shut off to the act to access. They're getting shut off. Us being there is just going to make matters worse. Let's get that understanding. But it actually strengthens the continent's economic backbone and future as these critical infrastructures projects are not just talked about, but they're planned and they're implemented and they're maintained from generation to generation. And innovation continues to be built on what it is that we do. There's a lot of things that's planned. Implementation is another one. That's where our help is needed. Our help is needed to run these projects. Our help is needed to run these programs. Our help is needed to build out these portfolios. It truly is. And I talk about all about that in my book. So yes, family, I will be coming through trying to build that on up. I appreciate your support with the book. I appreciate your support with the channel. Look, whatever I do, the Most High does not have any of our efforts in vain. None. So, family, thank you again for your prayers. They really do help because the Most High is really moving on behalf of his people in this very day and age, this very hour, this very moment. So, with that said, family, most high willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. So, with that, family, stay safe, stay vigilant, be aware of your surroundings. You don't have to be in fear, but please be in awareness. There's a difference between awareness and fear. Because here's the thing, the Most High still has you covered, but the Most High still wants you to be aware. We're made to do things in a decent order. So yes, family, I gotta get up on out of here. Hallelujah. With that said, also please help to support other channels. Yeah, Pastor Rick Fletcher, Sister Shonda, she does great interviews. I saw that the other day with the Lorvins and Brother Ron Dalton. Yeah, Sister E, Taya and Yakoba, Teo Ministries. We have Elephant Man. Yeah, Sister Gates of Holder. And the list goes on and on and on. We're building up a community. Because when things happen, guess what? No one here is alone. Understand that the enemy wants you to think that you're alone, but you're not. You're not alone. So, with that said, family, I got to get up on out of here. And most high willing, I'll see you tomorrow. With that, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalawam, peace, and blessings. Yasharel.